Big boxing weekend. Finally got a cut. I'm just looking rough. We got a special guest. My man Rob Acosta's hopping on. He's going to explain the difference between drained and dry because I constantly hear boxing fans always saying when they see a dude at a weigh-in, oh man, he's drained, he's cooked. So I'm gonna let y'all hear from an expert. We'll wait for some people to hop in. What's good? Oh, come on, YouTube. Send out the notifications. Yeah, man. Constantly hear fans talk about this guy's drained. And I don't think they really know the difference. A lot of times when they see fighters, they're either already around their weight or they're completely blown up. So I like seeing them outside of that space is really, really drastic to them. And so we got an expert coming on to give y'all the real professional strength and conditioning coach that specializes, of course, cutting weight, but also keeping you strong while doing so. And he's worked with world champions, guys that are contenders, etc. So he'll be hopping on any second. We'll talk about Eubank. And he'll explain the difference between drained and dry. A lot of times fans mistake dry with drained. Sean, I'm doing this for y'all, man. I'm doing this for y'all. If y'all see I'm rocking my Hitman Haven Brady shirt, shouts out to the Hitman. Undefeated prospect. It's a tight shirt, by the way. But yeah, this is what I'm on, man. What's good, y'all? Where the fuck is Rob at? Did y'all see that Eubank missed weight? I think it was by like point 0.2, and then he came back in point 0.5, and it cost him 500,000. I don't know, man. I don't know. Derek, what up? Sean, what up? The yo, is that Mr. Danny or Mr. Daniel? I don't know. But yeah, we waiting on Rob to hop in there, man. Talk to me. Who y'all got tomorrow? Honestly, bro. Oh, here you go. I wanted to see the weigh-in. All right, so we got professional strength and conditioning coach to your favorite fighters. Right. All right. So if you're not familiar with Rob, I've been covering Rob for probably like the last 4 years. He's helped champions, contenders cut weight and get strong and conditioned for fights. Rob, I know it has to frustrate you. You constantly hearing that every fighter is drained heading into a fight.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Um, what you mean as far as like the difference between the two?
Yeah, what is the difference between drained and dry? Because I feel like fans may be confusing both.
Yeah, it's the difference is like I said in a recent interview before, it's like the equivalent of someone breaking into your house, taking shit and leaving, and then the person wake up and says I was robbed. So because they don't really have an actual concept of what mean like what specific things mean, they go to what they normally use or what they're used to hearing or whatever the case is. In this case it would be weight drain.
Mm,
The difference between weight drain and being weight dry is completely different. One is danger, the other one is it isn't. So for people who've seen weight draining results, and that's what they go to. Weight drain would basically be meaning you're cutting a specific amount of weight in a duration of time, but still being hydrated within that process.
Mm.
When you're dry, you're basically trying to squeeze out all the water left in the towel after all the water is out. So that's where the danger becomes. So when you're dry, that's when you're feeling fatigue. You can't step on a scale. You're slow with your speech. Um, you can't sweat no
Wait,
more.
is that dry or is that drained?
That would be dry.
Dry. Okay.
So dry would necessarily mean like you can't stay like it's not everybody's the same symptoms, but it would be like, you step on a scale, you can't step on a scale, you need some assistance. Other things would be like um you're weak, you're foamy, um it's like your urine is like incredibly dark or is even like a brown hue to it. um like that's the dangers. That's where it starts complicating things with the kidneys and the livers, and then you go into other slights of danger what can cause life threatening. When you're weight drained, that is an entirely different thing. Weight drain is the most common thing that all fighters go through. So for example, right, i'll use um i'll use I'll use Boots as an example, right? So
Mhm.
when Boots last fight, a lot of people looked at him and said that he was weight drained, when in reality he is, but they're mistaking the way that they say weight drain to being dry. Boots was still healthy. Boots was still fully rehydrated. Like he was still eating, he was still drinking, he was going to the bathroom normally. His
Mm.
behavior and his mannerisms was the same. But what the fans and some casual fans tend to mistaken is the fact that when he being weight drained is like that negative image that they're trying to describe that is dry.
Okay.
That's the difference.
All right. So, is there some signs that a fight? I'm gonna call it cooked, right? Is
Mm,
there like what are the signs that a fighter is cooked? Because a lot of times fans look at faces, and some guys like Boots would be considered a fat face guy,
mm,
right? Guys that gain weight, and as soon as they put on weight, it goes to their face.
mhm.
And when they see the person's face not as full as normal, they automatically think that that person is cooked.
That's my whole point. That's
Mm.
that's the exact equivalent of what I'm saying. So it's like when a person looks at someone step on a scale, they automatically assume the negative to say, "Oh, he's weight drained and X, Y, Z," even though the definition per definition of what you're saying is you're describing what you think what it is, but in reality you're describing something completely different. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So um an example of being dry, Haney Cambosos.
Mm.
When he stepped on the scale and he had the skeletal look where he was speaking and he was like kind of like out of it. That's a dry state, right? Jermaine Ortiz Lomachenko.
I
You
remember that.
interviewed Jermaine.
I remember that.
He was very slow in his speech. He was very dry. Like it was kind of like, yeah, man, I don't know. Like that's the state of dry, right? Weight drain would be like weight drain would be. Oh, Ryan is another one because when Ryan fought Tank and Ryan then couldn't rehydrate to a specific weight, the look that he had, the no energy, the fatigue, the tiredness, that's dry. But then you got guys who are weight drained, who is just the most common guys that step on a scale. You got Boots, you got Crawford, you got Spence, you got Danny, you got Canelo, you got Benavides, you got Bevo, you got Better Beef. Like those guys go through a stage of weight drain because they're draining the weight from their body. It makes sense. If you're draining a boiler, you're draining what? The water out of it until it becomes what? Dry.
Mm.
That's the difference. So you
So
got a guy like Eubank,
yeah,
that's dry.
okay. So
That's dry because he tried his hardest to lose that extra point 0.5 and just could not do it. His body stopped sweating, his body stopped releasing the weight. So now, if he would have forced himself to get into a much aggressive state where he's dropping the weight, now he's going with life risking situations. Kind of like what happened to Virgil.
with the rap though.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, like a lot of
Um,
people, it's just bottom line, bro. There is no sense of being dry if you start camp early or if you're done your fight, whenever you do fight, you just stay in shape. This is why I normally tell the guys that I work with, I advise them. I can't do anything else outside of advise them, but stay somewhere between 15, 20 pounds max over your fight weight. So that way the food and the beverage and everything that you do eat and drink can come off within reason. Don't go up to 30, 40 pounds up and then expect your body to perform the same as the years go on. Your metabolic rate gets slower, you know what I'm saying? So it kind of changes a lot of things.
Tego, what up? All right, you didn't seen the weigh-ins, Rob. You know that there's a rehydration clause with Eubank and Conor Benn.
Hmm.
Who do you favor in that fight?
I
You're the
got Con-
expert. You got Conor.
yeah, I
Why?
got Connor based off the weigh-in by itself. Now, if stylistically Eubank wins because of styles make fights, then I wouldn't argue that. But if I'm judging off of what I assume how one is going to perform based off visual, then I'm going to go with Ben because Connor drained all the weight as much as he can go to the point where he's at the state of dry. To now, you have to now can't go over 9.5 pounds now. Really think about that. Where Conor Benn came in 56.
Conor Benn's gonna be eating.
He's good. He could do whatever the fuck he want.
Conor Ben was
But
probably eating this whole week.
that was my whole point when it came down to the Crawford and Canelo thing. This is what I'm saying. You see how Conor Benn came in lighter against a heavier guy. But if you're starting off at a high weight to go down, to go back up, and you're doing that elevator, then yeah, bro, you are going to run into some issues. You understand what I'm saying? So I think for this sake, it's just styles make fights, and whoever performs the best gets the win. But if I'm going off of just visual, I'm gonna go with Conor Benn.
How dangerous? Like, what are some of the dangers in cutting too much weight? Because you constantly hear guys saying that, oh man, he can get down to this weight class, he can get down to that weight class.
Hmm.
You see guys always pushing the envelope or trying to push the envelope. What are some of the dangers that come into play when you are cutting too much weight?
I mean, it's a lot of big dangers, bro. Like to be honest, it can go as far as like I said earlier, piggyback on for what I'm saying is the fatigue, the tiredness, the dehydration. Now your liver and your kidneys are working twice as hard, and then it's just so much that can happen to the body where it can really hospitalize you, man. You know what I mean? It could really take you to a whole different level of negative health, and now you're dealing with a more serious problem where your life is on the line. So to prevent all those shit from happening, live right. But most of these fighters, they get comfortable. You understand what I'm saying? Like, all right, I'm gonna give
Mm,
you an example, right? So I worked with a guy, right? He's a solid friend of mine, and he was in the amateurs.
mm.
And he called me with 3 weeks to his fight, and he goes, "Yo, Rob, do you think I can cut this weight?" So because of my line of work, I gave him two options. I said, "Can it get done? Yes. Will it be healthy? No. Would I advise it? No. But if you want to fight that bad, you can do it. But you got to do it like this." He did it, right? He followed exactly, I'm talking about step by step to get it all the way down. He made the weight, fought all 3 rounds, wasn't successful, but his performance of cutting the weight drastically in such short time, he ended up fatiguing in the 3rd round. So that's what caused him to lose. He didn't get beat up. His defense was tight. He just lost because of the energy that he couldn't match the output. But then he called me 2 days before the weigh-in, and he was like, "Yo, I have this brown color in my urine." And I'm like, "That's the state of where you don't want to be in." But I did say, to cover my ass, I did say that you can do it. It's just not going to be healthy. In the end of the day, bro, if a person wants to do whatever they want to do, they're going to do it regardless whether I give them advice or not. So I always, as a professional, have to give them advice on both ends.
All right. We once did an interview and you referred or you referred to some of the complications of with cutting too much weight as it relates to punch resistance. And you talked about the fluid in the brain. Expound on that.
Well, the fluid
Joe,
in the
what up?
brain, huh?
It's Joe.
Oh, the fluid in the brain doesn't really necessarily, like, when you got fluid in the brain, your brain is floating in your skull.
Mm.
Then you have these walls that are connected inside your skull. So when you get hit, your brain strikes any of the walls within the skull, which causes it to send the waves down to the body, which causes the concussions, causes the shock. Which that's why when you do get hit with a shot, some people stay stiff. But the more or less in the comparison between the weight cut, the dry, and the weight drain affect and adjacent to the brain is your alertness. You ever been so tired that you just do a bunch of stupid shit and you're like, damn,
Yes.
like I'm just exhausted. You understand what I'm saying? Kind of
Mm.
like you're so tired one day, you put the cereal in the fridge and the milk on the cabinet. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you're that exhausted. So that's where it affects more or less of that end.
Okay. Message to young fighters that's trying to fit in the weight class. No, no, not even message to young fighters. Any fighters that's trying to stay around a weight class, but it's starting to get hard.
Pause.
Uh, yeah,
Sorry.
you got
Sorry.
me.
Sorry. Sorry.
All
Sorry. I
right,
don't
so
know. I'm sorry. I'm
his,
always.
all right, I'm gonna go historically. You had Earl Spence talking about moving up to 154. He stayed for an extra fight. Terrence Crawford ends up stopping him. Not saying that that's the reason, but that was a conversation beforehand. Should Spence move up to 54? It's getting harder.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting hard to make. It's getting hard to cut the weight.
Mm-hmm.
Terrence Crawford talking about moving to 54. Stephen Fulton, who you work with,
Mm-hmm.
talking about moving up to 126
Mm-hmm.
because 122 was becoming hard. Um, Trying to think who else recently. Virgil Ortiz being hospitalized. Um, Raymond Ford versus Nick Ball, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What would your message be to fighters? Like, what's the right way to go about jumping a weight class, and when you feel like it might be time or things are becoming too hard? Oh, somebody empty the clip said Janabek passed out, but I remember Jaime Munguia passing out against who was that? Demetrius Ballard
Mm-hmm.
passed out like after the scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my message would be, Don't fuck this up. So you're once you reach a certain level of in the boxing world and you become ranked to a certain degree, right? You don't want to always rely on the abilities that you possess that are God gifted. So you don't want to just go into a fight saying, "Man, I'm a way better fighter. I got this," and completely abandon what gets you to that state. Which one of them being your health, one of them being your weight. So if you want to go out and the fight, let's just say a person fought April 12th, right? You fight April 12th, you want to celebrate the victory, you want to go get yams, cool, everything you want to do. Sunday, Monday come, you know what I mean, throughout the week. If you want to go out and eat and do whatever it is you want to do, cool, rock yourself out, right? But don't stop running. Don't stop working out. Just be self conscious of what you're doing. You understand what I'm saying? So like if you go Sunday you ate like shit, Monday you ate like shit. Now your body's gonna start feeling that lethargic stage
Mm,
where you're kind of like tired. Like, I ain't going to the gym today. I know it's 2 days, but it's cool. I'm just gonna go on Wednesday. Then Wednesday comes and you're like, you know what, man? I'm just gonna start fresh on Friday. And then Friday comes, you're like, you know what? Monday's the best time to go back. That's gonna be a repetitive thing.
mm,
So it's just best to, even if you're gonna do 2 miles, if you're gonna do 3 miles, cool. Even if you just wanna set the clock for 30 minutes and just run, you know what I'm saying? Just do that. But the problem is that when people tend to finish their fight, they go back into they go back and then they drink their soda, they drink their alcohol, they're drinking juice, they're eating bullshit, and it's just there's no running, there's no diet, there's no water, there's none of that shit because you basically went through a stage where you were sacrificing everything for for you to perform. But if you can avoid those things and just do it up until you get ready for the next camp, I promise you will make weight so much easier because your body's already in motion. Now you burn calories every day. You could just be walking around, you could be laughing, watching TV. In order, your body will burn calories just operating just to be alive. You know what I'm saying? But what you want to do is you want to go into that state where it's kind of like I don't have to struggle to make all this weight.
mm,
If I'm 25 pounds over, 30 pounds over, I want to make a mental note like, okay, I just hit a 30 pounds over. Let me lose this 10 and then maintain it until I get the camp. Then the date comes. Okay, when I'm fighting in 3 months. All right, so in 2 weeks, I'm gonna start picking up my weight. Now you start eliminating things from the diet that you currently in. So instead of eating breads all the time or drinking soda, eliminate the soda, go to something that's like more fruit like, or go to smoothies, or drink protein shakes, or hot up the water intake, drink tea, black coffee, etc., etc., etc. Do stuff like that to get you into that mode, and you'll make weight so much fucking easier. These guys think it's a fucking game, and they're gonna go in there and they're gonna keep doing this, and they're gonna keep doing the Epsom salt bath. They're gonna keep doing the sauna. They're gonna keep doing the steam room, and then some people lose on the scale on the biggest opportunity, and certain promoters are never been fighters, so they looking at it as, damn, I just invested $10 million into this guy, and he's not professional. Fuck it, we're gonna drop him. Now you lost your career for what? That's all I'm saying.
Butch, 2 cents. What up? Hey yo, hey Rob. If Boots and Conor Benn fight, man, I can't wait for that, bro. I can't wait to be posted up in London with a hoodie on. I'm gonna wear Dickies and a hoodie on.
That's funny as shit.
Yeah. Anyway, Rob, is this some of the things that you were worried about with Conor Benn and with Eubank?
Yeah,
Eubank
I mean,
being
it's just anybody who's going up in weight, bro. It's just doing it the right way. You know what I'm saying? Like again, boxing has the most stubborn and they're just stubborn motherfuckers, man. A lot of fighters are just so stubborn. They just don't like to listen, and they think that. they know certain things when they really and necessarily don't. And sometimes they do know they shit. They know how their body feels and they listen to it. They go against coaches' orders and they get the shit done anyway, but they feel great doing it. So for me, I always tell a guy, I I don't know how you feel. I can only see what I assume and I can go off of what you tell me. Anything else outside of that, I don't know. You're gonna have to just be honest. You understand what I'm saying? So in regards of anybody, not just Conor Benn and Eubank, but I'm talking about anybody who's just cutting weight and just don't know what they're doing. It's very hard to deal with that because for a guy at my nature, at my position, right? Let's say, all right, let's just say, um, I mean, give me a guy. All right, let's say Eubank. Let's say I worked with Eubank,
Mm.
right? It's announced. You interview different interviews. Oh, Eubank got a new strength and conditioning coach. He got this person. His resume is this. His da 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 da. Then he misses weight. That falls on me, right? That falls on me because my responsibility is to do my job. Now, behind closed doors, he could have fucked it up the whole time. But from the outside looking in, that's my job. And of course, as normal, most fighters, most coaches, they blame whatever's new if they lose. So I think that most situations, I think the best way to go about it is just do things the proper way. If you're gonna cut the weight, do it smart. If you're gonna go ahead and party up, hey man, rock out. Go ahead and do what you got. You wanna have a Thanksgiving feast every single day? Knock yourself out. But best believe you better flush that shit down with some water. And then when certain 2, 3 days out the week, maybe go for a run. People
Okay.
just stop working out, bro. I
Phase,
know,
what up?
bro. Listen, I know pros that I've worked with in the past who can't even do 100 push-ups straight, who can't do 50 push-ups straight. Bro, you're supposed to be in this shit forever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like fitness and health. You're taking boxing as a yeah, it's a career, but it's also life changing to your body, man. You should try to stay healthy. You know what I mean? Look at Mayweather. Mayweather always fought around the weight he was at. Bernard Hopkins did the same thing. They never struggled with weight, and they looked fantastic doing it.
SOB, what up? Is that the cheat code now? So you got a lot of guys that want to be big for the weight class, right?
Hmm.
But we saw with like Miguel Burchell, eventually that becomes to your detriment, right? But then we see these guys that, okay, I fight at 47, but I walk around at 60. I walk around in the high 50s. Is that the cheat code? To where as though you're eating throughout camp,
Hmm.
your body is performing at its optimal. Like you're not putting too much stress and strain on your body by, 8 weeks dropping 30, 40 pounds.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because there's no possible way, Rob. You tell me, can you fucking replenish everything you need to do in 24 hours?
Legally,
Yeah, legally.
it'll be hard. It'll be hard. Um, you can. Don't get me wrong. You can, but it's about it's so many things to it, bro. It's a lot. Like it's like can you eat vegetables? Can you do this? Can you do that? Yes. But fighters will sit there and say, I don't like broccoli, I don't like asparagus, I don't like rice, I don't like pasta, I don't like fish.
Mm.
So it kind of like cancels out what options you really got. I knew one dude who cut weight and his whole camp, his diet was like, what was it? It was like hot dogs and some other shit. So it's kind of like it's weird, bro. You understand what I'm saying? And what people fail to understand is that the older you get, you will slow down. It will happen. So it just matters. And then you also have other people who are just genetically blessed, and no matter what age they're at, they can shred that weight with no problem. You know what I'm saying? But not everybody's the same.
This is the one reason why I don't like these fantasy fights that
Hmm.
turn that turn out to be real, that they actually try to make happen.
Hmm.
because it's a small guy jumping up a whole bunch of weight, or it's okay. Well, you meet me in the middle, but let's keep it a bean. The big guy, it is easier for you to put on weight than
Hmm.
it is for you to cut and perform.
Depending on the body, yeah. Depending on the body type.
All
Like
right,
if you're
perfect.
like if you're a compact person, you just build you're just a stocky dude. It's easier for you to put on, harder for you to put off. If you're a guy that's very thin, who even when you're out of shape, you still got a six pack, your pecs are still ripped up, you still look lean more than the average person, then it's easier to lose the weight and get cut up fast. You know what I'm saying? It's just that's a genetic thing.
Just what up? Like, all right, perfect example, right? And then we're going to segue into Crawford Canelo.
Hmm.
Well, if Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, the fight happened at 160. So Crawford moved up from 147 to 160,
Hmm.
and then Canelo moved from 168 down to 160. In that situation, I would favor Terrence Crawford,
Hmm. Hmm.
but because it'll be him putting on muscle,
Hmm.
coming two weight classes up,
Hmm.
and probably where he starts to peak at camp anyway,
Yeah.
around 160. Where
Hmm.
Canelo Alvarez, now you're draining an extra 8 pounds than what you've been fighting at for the last 2, 3 years.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we got in this Eubank Conor Benn situation.
Hmm.
Is we have a dude that normally fights at 47 and that's fighting at 60, and a guy that's at 68 coming down and on top of with a rehydration clause.
Hmm.
And now we're expecting him to rehydrate. Shit, you only got 24 hours. What do you got? Because you got to do the weigh in the morning.
Hmm. Hmm. So when it comes down to like Crawford, right? And like I said in the past, if he's eating his way up to that weight class, he's in trouble. Now, there's going to be some, excuse it, but there's going to be some stupid motherfuckers that'll sit there and say, "Oh, well, you got to eat in order to gain." Yeah, duh. But I'm not saying it in a sense of you're not putting in the physical lifting aspect of it. Like if you're just gonna just eat your way up and then start the weight afterwards, then that's a different story. Now, in order for you to gain, you have to eat more. So the way that it works is like if your calorie intake is 2,500 and you burn 2,500, you're maintaining. If your calorie intake is 2,500 and you're burning 32, then your calorie deficit where you're burning more than what you're intaking, which causes you to lose. Now, if you're eating 2,500, and I mean you're eating that, and then you're working out and you're burning 1,500, then that's where your gains, and or you're just going to eat more, so your calorie intake, instead of it being 2,500, is going up. Like I know Pacquiao, I think Pacquiao in camp, his calorie intake was like 4,500 or something like that, or maybe 5,500. It was something crazy high, but
Damn.
he burns a lot. Yeah, listen, everybody watches Flash, everybody's seen Flash. What
Yeah,
happens when Flash ain't got nothing in the system?
Flash gets cooked, yo.
There you go.
Flash, Flash eats more than anybody. Like,
So that's the difference. Now, in reality, do I think Crawford is the more athletic man? Yes. Do I think Crawford has great IQ, skill, great assets and traits that can give Canelo a shitload of problems? Absolutely. Since this will be Canelo's toughest fight with someone who's athletic since Mayweather.
it was Landy.
Yeah, but I can't even do that because I know that Islandi Lara did his thing at 54 with Canelo, but I think Crawford has a little bit more traits than Lara do.
I'm just saying athletic, though. Lara's
Yeah.
athletic. Or
Yeah,
Laura
but
in
hold
his
on though.
prime.
Crawford always also wrestled in high school. He did a lot of shit.
Yeah,
So
no, I'm not saying that he's more athletic than Crawford. I'm just saying you said the last dude he fought that was athletic was Floyd, and I'm
yeah,
like, nah, Iris Landy was athletic.
he was, but I'm still gonna go with Crawford. But at the end of the day, besides the point, like it's the fact that he's gonna fight somebody at this caliber since then, and that's been a long time ago. So now this is what I'm gonna say, and this is for the Crawford fans also. If William Skull gives Canelo problems, put your money on fucking Crawford because Crawford will find a way to win. Now, for all the other casuals that says that Canelo is going to get knocked out, now you tripping. You understand what I'm saying? I don't see that happening. But what I do see is Bomac getting together with Crawford, them seeing the Canelo's performance against Skull. If he struggles in any fucking thing, they're going to put that tape together. They're going to put the Bevo tape together. They're going to come up with a crazy ass game plan and they're going to end up pulling it off. Knockout? No, that's not happening. A boxing lesson? I can see that.
Can you win? Here's the issue that I have with people telling me that Crawford is going to defeat Canelo. Right? One, can Crawford knock out Canelo?
No,
Canelo got an iron chin, been hit by big punches 75s. I doubt that happens, right?
I don't think it could happen. But I
Two,
can see him outboxing him.
wait. Two, can you win a decision against Canelo in Las
Where?
Vegas? In Las Vegas.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I could see that.
But you gotta
No,
beat
but
listen,
hold on though.
you got to
It would
beat
have
his
to be.
ass.
It would have to
You-
be convincing.
Exactly,
It had to be convincing. And you know what's crazy? He can pull it off.
bro.
No, no, no. He can, bro. Let's keep it a bean. Like Crawford. Listen, the only people I really don't see Crawford beating, to keep it real, and I don't give a fuck what everybody say. I don't see him beating Canelo and knocking out Canelo or anybody above that weight class, and I don't see him beating Boots. I really don't. But that's because of what I know one possesses over another. But outside of that, Crawford's nothing to be played with. You know what I'm
Bro,
saying?
I'm not taking nothing away from him, but this is what I'm saying. We know that Terrence Crawford's going to be on his way out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We
Mm-hmm.
have to acknowledge the business of boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Could Terrence Crawford outbox Canelo for 12 rounds? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can he do it without getting hit and getting broken down? Is the question though.
That's
And
what I'm
that's what
saying.
we
He's going to
wait,
get
wait,
hit.
and that's what we have to see. We
Right.
have to see, is Crawford still fast? Is Crawford still elusive? And can Crawford gain Canelo's respect? But
Mm-hmm.
the bigger question is, everybody knows Crawford is on his way out. Does it make sense if that fight is close or not a super ass whooping for them to give it to Terrence Crawford because you know Canelo Alvarez got 3 to 4 years left of you making money off of him?
True.
That's
True.
the
True. True.
issue I have with boxing.
But now here's the thing.
I shouldn't even have to think like that though.
You shouldn't. However, if he looks like shit against William Skull, then it just shows that Canelo may not be in that former prime stage. He might be declining also. Bro, just because Crawford may be older than Canelo got the same amount of time in because he started turning pro at 15.
Mm.
So it's kind of, it levels up the same. But do I think Crawford has the ability to outbox Canelo? Yeah, I really do believe he can do that. I just feel as though that when, like you said, as soon as he gets touched, what happens? Now, there's a video that I saw on Twitter of Crawford being the current weight that he's in, and he was shadowboxing. So I'm looking at it, and yeah, the punches are sharp. His head movement's cool, but his body movements wasn't the same. Like you ever ate so much, and this is, I'm not saying that this is what he did, but you ever ate so much and then like you had a family get together or you had a cookout with some shit and they decide to bring out the football or the basketball and you start playing, but you just ate
Yeah.
and you're like, listen, man, I don't know. Like I had it, but I had it. Yeah, it was there. I had it. That's how he looked in my end. But again, I'm looking at it in a more deeper detail than most people are. Like I'm looking at specific things where because it involves my line of work. So I'm just curious on how it goes. I'm not discrediting neither team's ability for coaching, neither team's strength coach abilities. I'm not denying neither fighter's abilities. I think it is a good fight. Do I think Crawford has a great chance of outboxing him? Yes, but at this weight, we're looking at something very similar to where Conor Benn and Eubank, the weight difference. And I'm not saying one is going to be weight drained or dry or wherever. That to that point. That's not what I'm saying. I can see the way that how difficult it is for Conor Benn just to get the fucking 60. Mayweather said it himself. He said he couldn't make 54, so he came in at 52. Come on, bro. The only man in boxing history to go from a middleweight and go all the way to heavyweight by going to per weight class was Roy Jones.
Mm.
And look at his performance per one.
What did James Toney went to heavyweight too, though, right?
I don't know if he skipped a weight though.
No, but Roy skipped cruiserweight, right?
I don't think was cruiserweight. Cruiserweight.
Cruiserweight was the thing.
I don't know.
Yeah, what weight did James Toney? This is for the chat. What weight did James Toney fight Valery Jirov?
Yeah,
Is that his name?
somebody look it up and somebody look up that fact check that for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, but outside of that, that's how I'm looking at it. You understand what I'm saying? Now, going back to the weight drain and dry and everything else, that's where I think most fighters fail at. They fail on the scale. They fail in situations like that. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is for me as a person who does this for fighters, I like the pressure. I love when a motherfucker say, "Yo, I got I'm feeling weak or I'm this or I'm that." And I'm not saying that I like it as in it drives me, but it kind of puts the stamp in what I can really do because I'm like, all right, so what do you feel? What it is? All right, let's do this, is that. And then it starts to change and shift. And then next thing you know, they perform great. And I'm like, ha, I got it. You know what I'm saying? So it
Is
kind
that
of helps me on that end.
is that how you felt in the Brandon fight?
Yo, that shit was crazy, man. That was interesting.
That was your first fight together, right?
Me, Scooter and I.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that camp was, I'm gonna honestly say, that was a really tough camp for me because of the adjustments that I had to make every day. I had to continuously make adjustments, and those adjustments benefited him in the best way possible. So it makes me happy.
All right, so we got a question from my man 2 Cents. What is the optimal weight Bud should be at to start camp for Canelo?
Depending on where it is. So let's say it's September. Um, I think Crawford should have been working on it around January, February. Because you're involving something where you're gaining weight, that's not the issue. The issue is gaining the weight and performing like you would at 47. So, like I said before, sparring is entirely different than getting hit with 10 ounces on. No headgear. This is it. This is it. You got room for mistakes in sparring. You know what I'm saying? There's no mistakes here. It's like everything has to be picture perfect. So it changes things. So if I were to advise anybody like Canelo or Crawford, I would sincerely say a good time to start would be January, February with weight training 3 to 4 days a week. Incorporate that into however way you manage your sparring. Then of course you got your running days. You also have your explosive days. I mean, I run camp a little bit different as far as the way that I like to do it. To spread everything out evenly. But it all depends on how he does it. You know what I'm saying? Now, if he ate his way all the way up to fucking 186 and then says, now I'm a run, and when I run, I'm a lift at the same time, eh, you know, it could be a little bit of an issue there. You know what I'm saying? But if he's coming in at 150 and says, all right, I'm a lift and I'm gonna put on 15 pounds of muscle, it's a little bit different. But let's always remember that genetically, it's probably hard for him to gain rather than him lose.
All right. I'm gonna go back to my Canelo Crawford point. And somebody mentioned this, and I think I've said this on numerous occasions. But who was that? That could have been Empty,
Mhm.
right? Yeah. Shout out to Empty. Um, Floyd is the greatest A side this sport
Who?
has ever seen. Floyd Mayweather is the
Uh-huh.
greatest A side this sport has ever seen. Right?
Okay.
I saw him whip Canelo's ass from pillar to post,
Hmm.
and he got a majority decision.
Yeah.
I saw Dimitri Bivol outbox Canelo thoroughly for 12 rounds.
Hmm.
Neither of those dudes had to go up 3 weight classes to do that.
Hmm.
So what I'm saying is, if they'll give this motherfucker a draw after he was getting his shit smacked around. Like this shit was crazy.
Hmm.
Like, do you remember he threw like a 5-piece combination and Floyd slipped all of them?
Yeah.
That was the greatest A side ever.
Hmm.
Terrence Crawford is a star now, but Terrence Crawford is nowhere near the star Floyd Mayweather was at the time that he had fought
I can
Canelo
agree
Alvarez.
with that. I can agree with
And
that.
my point is, like, is it gonna be a situation where Canelo, like Crawford, got to shoot Canelo in order to get the right decision? You feel me?
Yeah, I think that if it all, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It's all gonna come down to William Skull, and I said this before. Um, you know, I said this. I don't think the interview is dropped yet, but shout out to Ryan Goodell from Fight Hack. But he
Goodall,
had,
bro.
huh?
Goodall. You're terrible with names. Ron
I'm
Goodall.
bad. I'm saying, listen, man, I'll get my name fucked up. So look,
Mm,
right? Um, if William Skull is about 6 foot, 6'1", southpaw,
mm.
range, distance, and came from the school of Cuba, school of boxing in Cuba. When was the last time Canelo faced somebody like that?
It's been years.
Islandi Lara.
Yeah.
How was that outcome?
I thought Canelo lost that fight.
So,
It was
is it
close,
fair
but
to
I thought he
say
lost.
that he hasn't fought anybody like that since?
No, I think Eddie Reynoso has strategically picked opponents
Hmm.
predicated on what Canelo does well.
Yeah.
I do think Canelo is a better fighter than, but I also think that his competition. No, I'm
Yo,
not saying
good.
he didn't face.
Yo, I
What?
appreciate that, ETZ. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly what's going on. Well, go ahead.
Yeah. But not to say his competition wasn't good, but styles make fights,
Yeah,
and so they put Canelo in there with guys that would be more available than a Erislandy Lar and a Floyd Mayweather that gave him issues.
yeah, yeah. I just think if he gives them problems, that's gonna boost Crawford's odds
Well, then
by
you
six.
got Caleb. Caleb can move. I don't think he's an Erislandy Lara or a Floyd, but Caleb can move.
Yeah, but Caleb also Caleb's experience at the time wasn't as where it is right now.
That's a good point.
Crawford's experience is at the right moment. And regardless, either fighter, they're both cashing out, bro. It's the end of they're both reaching the end. So strike while the iron's hot, right?
How important is the stab to the body in Canelo versus Crawford?
From who to who?
Crawford stabbing Canelo.
I think it's important. I mean the stabs I enjoy the stabs. And it's not because I'm Puerto Rican. But
That's hilarious.
I like the stabs, but he's got to be quick because Canelo got really, really good timing. So if
Yes.
he stabs and that overhand fucking flies out of nowhere, I don't know. It might be a Amir Khan situation. You know what I'm saying? But I think he can do it. What I would like for Crawford to do is stab more in the close range. I
I'm
would
talking
stab
about a little poke.
closer range. Yeah. So when you're in closer range, there's a thing where you can stab going in an angle, but you're using the non-use of the other hand. So say for example, you're stabbing somebody with the straight right. You put the left arm around the gloves that if they're holding a high guard. So if they're holding a high guard, you kind of can pinch their arms and then shoot the shot straight to the stomach. So when
Mm.
you do that over and over and over, it starts to break them down. But like the only part about that is that is a good shot to throw and a good way to pinch somebody in specific parts of that ring. You can't do it in the center of the ring. So it all the matter is all a matter of how he does it. But I mean the stab can take an effect, but also, it's what if Canelo stabs? Canelo punch is going to be heavier.
Yeah, but I got Crawford timing
Yeah,
Canelo stab. Long
exactly my
arms,
whole point.
great timing.
Yeah, but
So I
that's what
got,
I'm saying. He
yeah.
can count. He can counter either side. For if it was for me, I would tell Crawford stay southpaw. Everything will be based off skull. Like I would like to see that. Like I will see that. I will see Lara, and I will see different. Because who's also a southpaw? Austin Trout.
Austin Trout. Austin Trout has success.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
So it
But
all depends. It
younger
really.
Canelo. The same way I can't go by what Yorkers Gambo, what success he had. That's a younger Terrence Crawford. It's
Mhm.
not this Terrence Crawford.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, he's right. Look, he said, I've never heard a fighter move up and say they felt faster. It happens, bro.
They asking you to break down Matias versus Pollo. Great fucking fight.
That is gonna be a good fight. Um, I got Puello.
Okay.
I got Puello's gonna outbox him.
So you're saying there's gonna be bachata played at the end of the night? Now Mark Anthony. It's gonna be bachata.
Yo,
It's gonna be
chill,
it's
bro.
gonna be what is it?
My
Elvis, what is it?
Dominican
Elvis
family.
Crespo?
Yo,
So no
all
Mark Anthony,
Hispanic.
Elvis
Listen,
Crespo.
bro. All Hispanics are related somehow. We all show love to each other, so it don't even matter. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, man, it's gonna be Aventura play. You say it's gonna be Aventura played that night, yo.
It might be, man. I don't know, but I definitely got a Boyle for real. I think he does. He's gonna have the success that night. I don't see Matias adding anything extra into his camp that's gonna kind of. The only thing you can do is put more pressure and take the shots better. You know what I'm saying? But I don't see Matias a combinational guy, explosive. He's a one hit. I'ma hurt you type shit. So whatever.
Hey, Tago, if you still in there, handle that, bro. These dudes get on the internet and just start drawing, man.
Yo, they so funny, bro.
Bro, man. Uh, I definitely look forward to the fight tomorrow. It's going to answer a lot of questions. Um, yeah, empty. I got you, bro. I got you.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how it all breaks down. Hopefully, people can now have a better understanding on what drain and dry means, and the importance for the young fighters, the importance of cutting the weight at a reasonable time and stop rushing shit. But who said it? I think Tommy Hearns. It's hard to wake up when you got silk pajamas on. Who said that?
Yeah,
It was Tommy.
yeah, it was Tommy.
So at
No,
the end,
no, it was Marvin Hagler. It was Marvin
Marvin
Hagler.
Hagler. All right, so
No girl shit.
look, man, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I hope these guys don't get complacent, and it goes from there. Name me a fighter who stopped boxing that didn't blow up. They don't take their health serious, bro. And I mean everybody does that. You know what I'm saying? Like you cut a specific way, you wait, you get cut for a wedding. You drain the weight for for a fight, for a sport, for the beach, for vacation, and then as soon as you eat, that shit gone. It's like, man, I'm cool now. But then you see recent pictures of yourself, you're like, yo, man, I gotta lose this shit.
bro.
I still
ain't
wear
nothing,
coat, bro.
yo, DOG, what up? Ain't nothing worse, right? Than the weather's starting to get nice, and then you look down and you got the little.
Yeah, you got the little pouch going on and shit. You know what I'm saying? And not everybody can lose that. You know what I mean? So it all, man, look, this shit is serious. I just hope that these guys, these young guys, they really understand what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah, AB down bad right now. It's sad to see. AB shaped like a drug lord. Yes, it's sad to see him. But yeah, you got dudes like I know Ricky Hatton got big. You got what's the kid's name?
Naseem Hamed.
First Naveen got big, but it's plenty of dudes that's still in like excellent shape. Like Ward's in
Yeah,
great shape,
Ford is in
Steve
great.
Cunningham's in great shape,
Yeah.
Bernard's in great shape. Uh shit. Bo's 69 years old. Look like a fucking action figure, yo.
Mm.
Um trying to think who else
Yeah, but you know
that's
what's
been
one
up
thing
there.
about Bo that you gotta respect though is that he's been doing this 68. So I'm gonna say, phew, I'm gonna say, well, probably over 50 years. He's been doing this. So he never stopped. Like he's never stopped doing anything. Like he's always running, he's training, he's sparring. Yeah, can he be slowing down? Yeah, he could be slowing down. But in reality, he's still active. He's still doing his shit. So that's why he looks the way he does.
Tito, Oscar, bro, he got fucking abs inserted, bro. Nah, Tito looks
Tito
good.
got big. Tito got big though.
He did? I ain't seen him
Yeah,
in a minute.
yeah.
Last
Tito
time I
got it,
seen him,
but Tito is like Tito looked like that old head Spanish uncle. When you come into the house, he's the one that always come in and he be like, "Where the dominoes at?" Like he's that guy. He's the old head that got the plate in his hand and he eat while he talk to you and he stand right in front of you. He be eating. You know what I'm saying? He's that guy. He's the uncle. So Oscar,
Kodo looks good.
Oscar still, huh?
Kodo looks good.
Koto's still solid. It depends, man. A lot of these guys they fall the fuck off. That's what they do. They
Yeah,
all
Oscar.
it all depends, bro. It really really does because it's fucked up because that's the shit that we come across, and then they reach these levels, and it's kind of like they forget how they got there, because in reality, in the amateurs, you're cutting weight and you're fighting 5 days in a row, so your whole life that's all you know. So it's kind of like you get to a point where it's like this is retirement for me. I'm not doing shit. I'm just going to eat. I'm gonna vacate. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And then 20 years later, a motherfucker talking about, oh man, I'm coming back, man. I'm telling you, I'm coming back. I'm gonna just get rid of this. And they always point at their stomach. I'm gonna get rid of this. No, that's not how it works, bro.
I'm trying to think who else is still. Rob, last question, right?
Yeah,
Did you watch the virtual press conference with Cornflake,
I did.
Carlo, and Kid?
Yo, I got a question about that, right? So Cornflake was cool. Like, he was chilling. He was doing what he was supposed to do. I don't know what sparked Charlo. Like he was chill, and then he just snapped. So I don't know if he did that shit for I don't know what the fuck he did that for, but he was snapping. But it was
Yeah,
funny. Yeah, Caleb Plant and Cornflake was funny though.
yeah,
If you look at Caleb Plant face, he's like, "Come on, bro!" Like he probably looking at it like you drawing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yo,
It was a jaw. I thought it was going to go a lot because when Caleb said, respectfully, shut the fuck up, and then Flake was like, "Hey, yo, watch your mouth," and then Caleb was like, "Or what?" I was like, "Oh, here we." I'm like, when they see each other, they gonna rumble. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Caleb about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he don't care. He don't care about none of that stuff. Like you know what I'm saying? He is what he is. That's who he is. So it's kind of like just tread carefully of what a person say. If you want to be about it, then be about it. If you're not gonna be about it, then chill out.
Yo, them white boy versus white boy rumbles, they be getting that shit in, yo.
Yeah. No, but Caleb, but see, in that sense, like with respect, all due respect to Cornflake, I understood what Plant was talking about. Like, yo, this is. He asked me the question. This is my time. You know what I mean? You ain't really gotta say nothing. I understood that. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of like I, I don't know what the fuck is going on because then they knew him.
They kicked Flake off. They both of them had points. Is that the whole promotion is looking like Caleb is fighting Charlo, but they're not. Like if you look at the posters, nobody else is on posters but them two.
Yeah.
They're not fighting each other.
Right.
They're fighting Resendez and they're fighting Cornflake.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understood the disrespect, but I also understood where Caleb was coming from in the sense of like, bro, I didn't interrupt when you and Charlo was talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
they're asking me a question, so
Yeah.
let me answer it. So
Crazy.
yeah, he asks, does Bozy practice martial arts? Bozy is a certified ninja on his
Yo,
downtime. He's not training fighters.
that
He's a
should be
ninja.
so. Yo, no. I'm gonna tell y'all a funny story. We was in 1-on-1, and Bo has this friend. I forgot his name, and God please forgive me, and Bo forgive me, and his friend forgive me his name. But they always talk shit to each other, right? I'm talking about all the time. They apparently they train together.
Mm.
So one time he flinched at Bo, and Bo got into a martial arts stance and kicked him. He tripped. And the dude ended up falling on the floor, right? So he got up,
No.
he's like, you tripped me. And Bo was like, I ain't trip you. I told you to stop playing. So he like, hey Rob, did he trip you? I was like, no. I said, nah, bro, he ain't trip you. You just he ain't trip him. Yo, that was a funny, it was like two old heads going at it, but it was so funny because his reaction was like this. It was funny, man.
Yo, that's fucking
Yo, that
hilarious.
was funny. I forgot his name, man. When I go to the gym next week, I'm gonna ask him. But I forgot his name. I forgot his name. But he
All
was
right,
a good dude.
all right, yo, we an hour in. We about to take it down, man. Rob, appreciate you coming on.
No doubt.
Um, always show me love, man. I'm grateful. Everybody in the chat, appreciate you. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share button on your way out. We're trying to get to 100,000 subs, man. 100,000 subs, man. All right, so we sounding off. Appreciate you, Rob. I'll hit you up.
All right, bro.
We out.